You know, there's a specific moment when building wealth completely changes. The game it flips. It's that point where you stop doing all the heavy lifting and your money finally takes over. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today, that single tipping point where everything changes.
No, really. Just stop and think about that for a second. What if your investment portfolio could generate a full-time income all by itself? I know, it sounds like some kind of get-rich-quick fantasy, but it's not. It's a mathematical reality, and we're going to get into it right now.
And here's the thing. This isn't some secret for the super wealthy. There's no magic trick. It's just math. Powerful math that's accessible to everyone. And once you really get it, it can completely reshape how you think about your financial future. Okay, let's dive in. All right, first up, the tipping point itself. We've got to define the destination. What is this moment we're aiming for? This place where your money truly takes over the work?
So, here it is, the number, $650,000. Now, why that specific amount? Well, let's say you get a pretty reasonable 8% annual return on your investments. That portfolio will generate $52,000 a year. That right there, that's basically the median individual income in the US. Your money is officially earning as much as the typical American does at their job.
So to put it simply, this tipping point is the moment your money's growth engine, compound interest, becomes more powerful than the money you're personally saving and putting in. Your wealth starts generating its own serious momentum.
Okay, so that all sounds great, right? But if it's really just simple math, why isn't everyone hitting this point? Well, that brings us to the hard truth. Section 2, the average financial reality. You know, for most people, building wealth feels like pushing a giant boulder uphill. I mean, just look at this. The median net worth for someone under 35 is just $14,000. Yeah, it grows over time, but it's a slow, painful grind. And it's a world away from the kind of momentum we need to hit that $650,000 tipping point. And here's a huge reason why it's so slow. The average U.S. household is carrying around $9,000 in credit card debt. And listen, that's not just a number, it's financial quicksand. With interest rates hitting 20% or more, that debt is actively working against you day and night, making it almost impossible to get ahead.
And then you've got this. On top of the debt, the average personal savings rate is only 6%. Just 6. At that rate, for most people, reaching the tipping point isn't just going to be hard, it's a mathematical impossibility during their career.
So, this is the real question, isn't it? If we know the destination, and we know the tough reality, how on earth do you bridge that massive gap? How do you get from a world of debt and low savings to a world where your money is doing the heavy lifting? Let's figure it out.
So, how do we build that bridge? Well, before we can even get to the really exciting math, you have to build a solid launch pad. These are the absolute non-negotiable first steps on the on-ramp to wealth. Think of it like this. You can't build a skyscraper on a shaky foundation. So first, you have got to eliminate that high-interest debt that's literally working against you. Second, you build a safety net, a real emergency fund, so that life's curveballs don't send you back to square one. And finally, you create a plan, a real roadmap for your money. These steps give you the stability you need to start building.
Okay, now that the foundation is solid, we can finally unleash the real power, the magic behind all of this, the math of momentum. This is where we get to see how that financial snowball really starts to grow. Just look at this acceleration. It's incredible. To get from zero to your very first $100,000, that's the long haul. It takes almost 8 years. But then look what happens. The next $100,000 takes only 5 years. Then you're doubling to $400,000 in another 5. This isn't a straight line, my friends. This is pure financial momentum.
And this right here explains why. This is the concept that messes so many of us up. We live our lives expecting linear growth, a straight line. You put in the work, you get a steady result. But wealth, real wealth, it grows exponentially. It grows on a curve because your money starts making money, and then that money starts making even more money. Getting this shift in your thinking is, well, it's everything. And check this out. Even on that very first milestone, that first $100,000, look at the breakdown. The growth from your investments is already doing more than half of the work, 54%. So compound interest isn't some far-off dream. It starts working for you from day one.
And this brings us to probably the single most important psychological lesson in all of finance. The beginning is slow. It feels like a grind. This is the stage where so many people get discouraged and just give up because they don't see that crazy acceleration yet. But getting that boulder over the first big hill is the hardest part. Once it starts rolling, believe me, momentum takes over. So what's the end game here? Why bother with all of this? Because reaching that tipping point, it's not really about the numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about what those numbers unlock in your actual life.
This quote just nails it. The real goal isn't just to have a big pile of money. The goal is freedom. It's the freedom to make choices based on what you actually value, not just on what you have to do to pay the bills. And this is what that freedom actually looks like in the real world. It's the security that lets you sleep at night because you know you're okay. It's being able to take a risk on a new career or start that business you've been dreaming about. It's having the power to say no to projects or jobs that just don't feel right. It's about taking back the pen and writing your own story.
So look, this tipping point, it isn't a myth. It's a real destination, and there's a clear roadmap to get there. The math works, the path is clear. The only question left is, what's the first step you're going to take to get there?